Welcome to Subramani. Uh, in my earlier avatar, I would say very early avatar, I used to be a member at the National Stock Exchange. Well, technically speaking, I used to be a director in a company which was a member at the National Stock Exchange. So fairly obvious that we used to deal with a lot of clients, and even prior to that I used to deal with clients who were traders, investors, etc. But we used to be pretty ruthless about entertaining traders, but believe me, we made money from them. Our brokerage rates were high. And today I'm going to share with you some of the people who lost money recently that I have seen. That I'm no longer a broker, but I still do some work with some of my broker friends, and I'll give you some of the cases that I saw recently. Recently would mean even say 5-6 years back or 10 years back. Not very old, not when I was a broker, not only when I was a broker. Some of that experience also could overlap in this video. So I've written about this, so I thought I would read out from you there. The biggest case that I will never forget is a son of a doctor. He himself was a doctor and he lost about 4 crores, and I'm talking about this amount sometime in the early 2000s. So it was a huge amount. I mean, 4 crores is a big amount even today. But this guy had lost that kind of money, and father was a doctor, he was a doctor, and he had lost about 4 crores. Then there was one sub-broker who lost about 3 crores. Then there were 2 housewives. I would think one housewife who lost about 73 lakhs and one who lost about 1.8 crores. But there the husband and wife both knew what they were doing in that 1.8 crores. So what were the similarities among all of them? First, none of them had a background in finance. I don't understand how a doctor or a chartered accountant who himself is a professional thinks that stockbroking is not a profession. Why do you think so? I don't see any reason why or authority for you to come and think like that oh, share market, I just come in, I make some money, I do an F&O transaction, right? All these people who lost money were also dealing with PE funded or listed brokerage houses. Now I am very old fashioned, and I believe that in brokerage and in credit rating, you don't really need to be listed. You don't need so much of money. Why should S&P CRISIL be listed, or why should CARE Ratings be listed, or why should any ICICI Direct be listed? There's no great logic, but well, these are listed, then they have a PE and the price goes up, right? So all these people who dealt with initially made some small profits while trading, right? So they would come, they would trade, they would make some money. One funny thing which is very sad is all of them, universally, all 4 of them who lost money had access to other people's money. They had access to their father's money, spouse's money, parents' money, something they had access to, which they could touch and make sure that the family did not find out about the losses that they were making for a long period of time. This is not very difficult, right? Your broker says make a payout, you say no, in my father's account there is a pay-in, so please don't bother. Now such things are not possible, because the broker will insist that he will make a payout to your father and he will demand money from you. But this I am talking of at times when SEBI did not insist so much, so you could adjust the husband's dues against the wife and things like that. That led to a different type of a problem for a broker. That's a different thing, but I'm just saying, so you could do it today, you can't do it. All of them were led up the garden path by their relationship manager, saying, sir, abhi to 1 lakh ka loss hai, ye kar do, 2 lakh ka profit ho jayega, or things like that. Now these people were themselves a little flimsy and shaky. When they were pushed by a relationship manager, it was easy for them to fall. Now you have to be very careful that if you are not very sure, if you don't have a very strong internal scorecard, which means you don't care a damn what other people think about your P&L or your balance sheet, you know you don't care, then you can be strong. But if you are a little weak, a strong relationship manager can push you over the cliff, right? All of them later on pulled out of the market and told me at least that they're staying away from the market. This is another mistake. You lost money trading, it does not mean you should not be investing. But this is a common solution that people come to. मैं market जाऊँगा तो ही पैसा घुमाऊँगा ना, so मैं market जाऊँगा ही नहीं. I think it's wrong, but well, that's what works for them. All these people are terrible brand ambassadors for the equity market, but they will go around telling everybody मैंने market में पैसा खोया. It's not market में पैसा खोया, you didn't know how to act in the market, right? So let us, so some of these people have even stayed away from mutual funds, saying, oh, I don't want mutual funds, I will keep all my money in bank deposits. I don't think they understand the risk of keeping all your money in bank deposits. I just was checking my savings bank account, and SBI pays me something like 2% per annum return. Now that's ridiculous in a country where I think the inflation should be more like 9-10%, even though the RBI is saying it's something like 6-7%, right? The US inflation rates are more likely to be in the 7% range than the 2% range that they're claiming. Look at how TIPS is priced, right? You will know the... So we how did we protect our clients during such bad times? Well, we used to have settlement days of 15 days, settlement cycles of 15 days, which meant that we could buy on day 1 of the cycle and settle on the 14th day and wouldn't have to make a payment. Today that is eliminated, so the exchange itself has eliminated this trading without money, because in trading they put a lot of margins. We used to put margins at a time when the margins were unheard of, right? When we ran our broking company maybe for 10 years, we had no bad debts because we were very selective in whom we were taking. That's how it is, right? If I have to do lectures, I have to choose clients who will definitely pay. I don't want to spend time chasing people saying abhi paisa do, abhi paisa do. It's not going to be possible. I don't have the infrastructure to do that, right? So we had a chairman who would go through transactions and say, oh, this guy has lost money in 3 balance or 3 settlements, which in 45 days. Over 45 days, this guy is not able to make money trading. Let's stop doing his business. For him, losing money over 2, 3, 4 settlements was a great indicator that people will not pay. He would just shut their business, right? Or he would go to the root cause and find a problem, root and find the solution for it, saying, okay, you're trading on wrong days, you're trading right, you're trading wrong. So you'd sit with them, discuss, and if they didn't listen, you'd just shut their business. And that's the way we protected ourselves. When we protected ourselves, we were also protecting our clients from losing big money in equity trading, or right? So what we did was we just put in an awesome risk reduction mechanism, saying, okay, we don't know you, so you have to pay so much margin. We don't know you, so you have to pay so much of extra, you have to leave so many shares of yours. It was just a physical requirement. So we would say, okay, leave some of your shares in our office, right? We would put it in a cover and keep it separately. We would never touch it, but many of our clients we knew over 2-3 generations, at least 2, if not over 3 generations. We did not have relationship manager, but our whole office acted as a relationship manager. Everybody would keep their ears to the ground and say, okay, there is a problem in these people's house, their business is not doing well, their father's business is not doing well, so there was a little scare that this person may not settle in time. In such cases, we would again increase on margin. We were charging extremely high brokerage. We did not want to charge less brokerage. Even after SEBI came in and put a 2.5% ceiling. Of course, we never crossed the ceiling, but we used to recover it from every transaction. We put a minimum charge, right? All those things which was allowed, we did. We would then talk to the whole family about what their son or daughter-in-law was doing. I remember a meeting with the father-in-law, mother-in-law, and they didn't know something which the daughter-in-law was doing. So, right, so she was doing badla with her shares, which to me was not her capability. She was not capable of doing this. We all used to do badla, but then she was not capable of handling it, right? We collected margins, we cross-vetted clients, we got 2 directors to talk to clients before they started doing big transactions. We paid clients if the client had an emergency, but we would always ask for money in advance. Some of the things we did is still unbelievable. We got client to make a big 1 million rupee fixed deposit with the bank and surrender the bank receipt with us. We forced the father to give in writing that if the son lost money, he would pay. You never know, because the father would come and say, I didn't know. So we took that in writing. We forced the mother-in-law to keep shares in her single name. We didn't want the daughter-in-law to touch it after the son's death. We got a doctor. We got a doctor to come meet his grandson and then admit him to some psychiatric treatment for counseling, because he was going berserk in his trades and the family wealth was being destroyed. I mean, the kind of things which we had done is unbelievable, and we had relationship which ran for 20-30 years of our business, right? So right now I have a broker with whom my relationship runs approximately 42 years. 1979 is when we started, and I'm still doing business with him. That's what we did to protect ourselves, and in that process we protected our clients, because 5 bankrupt clients and we would have been bankrupted. We didn't lose a rupee to bad debts, right? So all this requires tremendous amount of discipline in the broking business, and also while doing your own trading and investing. Thank you.